potential federal takeover at Rikers Island nearly a decade ago, a federal monitor was put in place to prevent more dysfunction and violence.
Now it's led to a hearing that could end with the city losing control of the facility. Fox 5's Linda Schmidt was inside the courtroom during those proceedings and joins us now with more. Linda?
Yeah, hi there, Steve and Natasha. Well, that federal judge having that hearing today following a recent scathing report from that federal monitor that you were just talking about. That federal monitor and members of his team in court today, and they were testifying before the judge, saying that last month alone at Rikers Island, weapons were found in, quote, the highest security units. That prisoners, some of them, had escaped their cells and they had attacked people sitting at their desks. They also say they witnessed open drug use and that some of the prisoners were so out of it that they could barely stand. Go ahead, take a look at this video because this is a rally that was held today before the hearing. Community groups have been demonstrating for quite some time now, calling for shutting down Rikers. In the meantime, the Legal Aid Society is suing the city because they want the federal government to take over all city jails, including Rikers. Now, this is something the mayor's administration opposes. More than 30 prisoners have died at Rikers in recent years, at least 7 this year. The federal monitoring team is accusing the Department of Correction Commissioner Louis Molina and the DOC of not being transparent about violence and prisoner deaths there. Well, we spoke earlier today with Queen City Councilman Robert Holden, who toured Rikers on Tuesday of this week with another Democratic councilman and 5 Republicans. They all say physical improvements have been made to Rikers and that right now there is no need to turn city jails over to federal government control.
It's way too early for that because we are turning it around. The mayor is committed to doing that, and he said that. And Commissioner Molina has done a magnificent job. Do they still have a way to go? Yes. Is it going to take, just a few years to turn around? No. But it is turning around.
However, a member of the federal monitoring team testifying today that what the council members did not see during their tour on Tuesday was 4 stabbings and slashings that happened that day, 12 inmate fights, fires that went on inside Rikers. Narcan had to be administered to 2 prisoners who had overdosed, and that they had recovered an array of drugs, including cocaine and fentanyl. Well, today the judge said that she is deeply concerned because the city is not making the changes quick enough at Rikers and other city jails, but she is willing to give the city a little bit more time. Commissioner Molina, after the proceeding today, said that he is thankful that the judge is not giving up on him or the city. Okay, back to me live right now here. However, the judge also said that prisoners and staff at Rikers are, quote, in grave risk of immediate harm. Back inside to you.
Unreal. Wow. All right. Thanks.
Juvenile Detention Center is temporarily closed due to staffing shortages and the need for repairs.
And Erica Stanish is live with more on what led up to the closure and how soon it could reopen. Erica?
Yeah, well, I talked to a board member here at the jail who tells me each day that passes, it costs $800 a person to house them somewhere else, and it could be months before it reopens.
Yesterday wouldn't be soon enough. I'd like to get it done right away.
The clock is ticking at the Westmoreland County Juvenile Detention Center to reopen its doors after a new state report found several violations.
You had a weekend where you had a lot of bad behavior trigger at the same time.
Most dating back to earlier this year when an emergency inside left the facility on lockdown for hours due to low staffing levels.
But it was an emergency situation and they had to make a decision and one outweighed the other.
County Controller and Chairman of the Detention Center, Jeffrey Balzer, says there's 4 people currently on staff compared to over 24 to be fully staffed. And with 16 beds available, he says they don't have enough bodies. In addition, he says they need more training and repairs are needed inside, including new cell doors.
We looked at it as an opportunity to let's shut it down. Let's do the repairs to the facility that need to be done, that should have been done over the last 30 years. But let's get that stuff done and let's change this into what is needed for this area because everybody's closing these homes. We have nowhere to house these people. You can't put them in the adult prisons. It's just not going to work out. So
Now, I'm told it will take at least 6 to 7 months just to get those new cell doors, and then it comes down to hiring more people and training before they can reopen. Reporting live tonight in Westmoreland County, Erica Stanish, KDKA TV News.
Step in the process to place Rikers under federal control.
The judge citing violent and unacceptable conditions inside the facility. The ruling was made. This is not the end of the saga between the city and federal authorities when it comes to who will run the prison.
Eyewitness News reporter Tom Nergavan live in Lower Manhattan with more. Tom.
David, a lot of tension in that courtroom today. The judge, though, saying she will hear arguments on this, and that is the first step toward federal control of Rikers Island, a step she says has to be taken for the safety of inmates and the people who work there. 7 inmates have died at Rikers this year. There were 8 stabbings just last month. Close Rikers now! A big crowd of protesters outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. They say Rikers Island is simply too far gone for reform. They want it closed.
What I want the administration to do is stop viewing this as an attack. What I want you to do is view this as a way out to make everything better.
In court today, the monitor appointed to oversee the notorious jail made it clear conditions could hardly be worse, and Judge Laura Taylor Swain agreed, calling the current state of affairs tragic and unacceptable. The city comptroller says since January of 2022, at least 26 inmates have died in custody at the city's jails. But at Rikers, Corrections Commissioner Lou Molina told the court things are significantly better than at the apex of this crisis. And that, he said, is undeniable. Their words that follow a visit to the jail this week by the mostly conservative members of City Council's Common Sense Caucus. Rikers Island, they say, is improving rapidly under the current administration.
All my colleagues screaming about closing Rikers, where are you going to put the individuals?
What is the monitor there to do? Let the commissioner do his job, let our mayor do his job.
Comments that anger these activists, aware that there were 4 recent stabbings at the jail over the span of 4 days.
It does make me really mad. The reason why is because people are dying. Every single human being deserves a right to live.
So a major step toward receivership for Rikers, but the judge stressed today it is not unavoidable. She suggests the city use the intervening time between court dates to show a real commitment to transparency and reform. That gives them until the end of November.
Look at a community engagement day on Rikers Island. It brings together incarcerated women nearing release and their families.
As CBS 2's Jennifer Bistram shows us, it keeps inmates connected to their loved ones and reduces violence in jail.
Hugs and happiness fill the gym at the women's facility on Rikers Island Tuesday. CBS 2 cameras exclusively capturing emotional reunions between female inmates and their families.
It's like a piece of your heart being in jail.
Michelle Netto visited her daughter at the Department of Corrections Community Engagement Day.
I look forward to this day like it was Christmas. I couldn't wait for it to get here. I miss her. You don't get to hold her and hug her.
Leela Netto was one of 10 women chosen to take part in the 4-hour carnival-themed Family Day. With supervision, kids were able to play games like Connect 4 and darts with their moms and aunts who were serving time. The incarcerated women were even able to have sit-down lunches with their loved ones that included pizza and popcorn and dance together to their favorite songs.
This is the first time I've seen her in person and been able to, like, a contact visit. Normally it's behind glass.
Netto was charged with larceny earlier this year. What have you learned being in here for a year?
Patience.
The 31-year-old who has been working at the facility's a tailor shop participates in several programs and received food handler training. She's expected to be released in November.
I made some mistakes, but in here I've rehabilitated enough to where I say I'm ready to leave now.
DOC says there are currently 368 women in custody on Rikers Island. Only a handful were able to participate.
They are handpicked by programs. They have to participate in the programs that are happening and kind of aiding that rehabilitation. And then they have to be infraction-free, so incident-free for the last 30 to 60 days.
Organizers say the program keeps violence down in jails, maintains strong family bonds, creates that human element, and leaves behind a positive impact pack that will help the women even after they're released.
It reminds you what you're, keeping a straight path for, keeping your head, out of trouble for.
The Department of Correction puts this program on 3 times a year for the women who are incarcerated here on Rikers Island. They say it keeps the women motivated and focused not just on their family, but on their release. On Rikers Island, Jennifer Bisbee.